Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. And take a look at this. Brad Garlinghouse just put over on Twitter. Wall Street Journal writes, Mr. Gensler blockade is counterproductive if his aim is to protect investors. If that doesn't call for congressional action to stop Chair Gensler's preferred method of regulation by enforcement, I'm not sure what does. Just a quick little reminder that the SEC v. Ripple case, and many others that are about to come, it just doesn't have to be that way. I keep trying to repeat it. The SEC has all the right to sue, and I honestly think they most likely have a couple of juicy crypto lawsuits that I can honestly agree with. But suing these crypto companies for the sake of not trying to make rules any other way, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. And with a lot of the things which have come out quite recently, well, Pete's being brought into a different light. What I'm referring to is, for example, this right here. Crypto owners banned from working on U.S. government crypto policies. A new legal advisory notice from the U.S. Office of Government Ethics prohibits any employee who owns crypto from working on federal crypto regulation. You kind of got to understand how stupid this is, right? So let's say that, now let me say it differently, right? It's for example, there were to be new rules for fishermen, for example, or regarding catching fish. From a certain perspective, I understand, okay, you don't want to have fishermen making those rules. From the other end, those are the people who appreciate that field the most and who should be the ones making the choices, or at least have part in the choices. It's the same thing as, okay, anybody who has a freaking bank account with money in there shouldn't be allowed to make choices on money. Well, but obviously they should have money, they should be involved with it to make those choices educatedly, right? Which is where the difficulty comes in with this type of stuff. We can understand bias, which is why we want to maybe exclude them. We can also understand knowledge and the fact that it's very hard to be knowledgeable about a new sector that you're not a single cent invested in. This is most likely just biases towards the side of how do you say it? Like people that are against it. Because again, what they're literally saying is, okay, if you dislike crypto, you're fine. If you like it and you actually own some, no, you can't make a rule on it. Even though at the end of the day, that's all, the only thing it's going to allow for is the people that do like it, they're not allowed to actually hold some, even though they like it. And the people that don't like it, they get to make freaking awful rules about it. A new legal advisory notice from the U.S. Government of Ethics prohibits any employee who owns crypto from working on the federal crypto regulation, which one of my buddies actually pointed out is kind of questionable. Like, we talked before about the ethics office at the SEC, right, regarding the Ripple v. SEC lawsuit. Before we go on, let's see if we can get this video to 600 likes. Just go ahead and press that like button. If you don't, somebody will come for you. I'm not sure why I went so dark with that one. Ignore that. All right, so Colin said, does this include the SEC's ability to work on regulating crypto since they more than likely own crypto too then? Wouldn't that make their attacks on the crypto community null and void? Now, I don't personally like, the question in my head is more so, why would they go for this crazy approach of things? And is this also like going back, for example, anybody that's had crypto in the past year cannot work on it? Or how does it work? Well, I've read so much about it, but I've kind of forgotten. As far as I understand now though, if you have anything to do with crypto, you can't make policy on it. The only exposure that you're allowed to have is a little bit down below here. If you're investing in some mutual funds that have some exposure to it, that's fine. But it's going to be interesting as it's going to be applied to all the government employed, federal government employees, including White House, Federal Reserve, Department of Treasury, even a stablecoin, which is the most fun part about it all. Even a stablecoin you can't hold. Interesting. Now moving on, I already showed you guys this like a little sneak peek just now. U.S. Department of Justice charges 6 persons in crypto NFT scams. Again, this is the only reason why I think the SEC sometimes does good, or Department of Justice or whatnot, in the crypto space when they're actually tackling the real scams, If there's actually people trying to either use somebody else's name to get other people's money or go for an actual rug pull or something of this sort, I honestly think as well, the DOJ is doing a really good freaking job. It's only once they go for actual crypto that people love and that are not trying to scam people that the whole story gets a little bit more difficult. But whatever, it is what it is. Dogecoin XRP can now be accepted as payment by Canadian food tech WeCook. Never used this for my life, nor will I most likely ever use it, but apparently you can now use XRP for it, which is good. It actually makes me realize as well that XRP is just fine over in Canada. It's like not a problem whatsoever. It's only in the US it's like, no. Apparently there's a lot of good stuff happening for Dogecoin. I've just been reading about how they became part of the Big 3 basketball league, as Bill Lee, founding chairman of My Doge, self-custodial wallet, bought all 25 fire tier editions of the Aliens, a team in the Big 3. I have no idea. I'm not a big guy on that. But yeah, as previously reported as well, Dogecoin holders can now use their Dogecoin for Uber Eats as well. That's cool, right? That's cool. Just a quick little utility update. Regarding utility, XRP set up for breakout as Ripple now tests NFT support. Yeah, just wanted to quickly make it clear once more. XRP's utility is increasing quite gradually, and I honestly think it's going to be something that's going to pop up in the lawsuit more later on, as I think a lot of the clashing comes by. And if, for example, comes in front of a jury, it's like, well, take a look at Colombia, take a look at the NFTs. All that stuff can operate without Ripple. The CBDC realm is utility, but it's mostly connected to Ripple still, so I'm going to exclude that one. But yeah, that they're building out these NFTs right now to become a really big thing, I think it's going to get a lot of traction as this is ridiculously cheap in comparison to all the others. Major blockchains, that is. Little side note, not really crypto, but just interesting. Breaking news. Central banks added a net $35 trillion to global gold reserves. This is the second consecutive month of net buying. Central banks continue to stockpile. Recession much? Yeah, I don't want to go too far into this, but this is very interesting to watch. Usually this shows some sort of fear, Talking about gold price manipulation. And fun fact, if you bought gold a couple months ago instead of Bitcoin, you'd be in a pretty good position right now. Then again, I think over longer periods of time, crypto indeed is the future, and gold will most likely stay behind a little bit, but we shall see. I guess one thing to kind of vouch for is this, well, 85% of merchants now want to accept crypto to get new customers. This thing which people don't understand is that crypto is not here to just be here for a little while and then go away. It's not a facade. It's not a charade for just a little bit. It's here to stay for most likely ever, never, never. And it'll most likely just be like the internet was. It's something that we're going to build upon as the cryptocurrency stuff is built upon the internet, right? Again, we're talking about this Web3. Eventually, there'll most likely be a Web4 or Web5, pick something, right? Maybe Web9 because they're going to square it or something like that. But there will be some new layer which is built on top of all this stuff that we can't even fathom just quite yet. It might take another 15 years for this new technology to be developed. But again, you should also look in a different corner. With the quantum computing, for example, that Bitcoin, for example, might not last anymore. So then another realm of cryptos that are completely quantum resistant or resilient have to come up, which are going to be based upon this Bitcoin blockchain idea from before, but completely different at some point. But maybe, I honestly actually not even a maybe. I honestly think this blockchain tech that we have right now is going to be the center of everything. I cannot imagine that identification, for example, in a decade or so is not going to be fully blockchainized, so to speak, and that the supply chain is not going to be fully on the blockchain, just every single part of it all. Again, I'm not so sure which party is going to get it all done, right? Maybe it's going to be VeChain, maybe it's going to be something else. I also can't imagine the traditional currencies that we have right now staying around for so much longer. I really think CBDCs are going to become the center of everything, basically. Talking about world payments, that is, right? And also that most things that we know in this world will be tokenized at some point or another, and that most things in the blockchain realm can interact with the Internet of Things. But it's just a little future prediction, I guess, right? It's just, in my head, it's also clear, it's also logical, which is why I'm buying so massively into this sector. A lot of people, they're skeptical, thinking, oh, which coin is going to go up soon? Which coin do you think? I don't think it matters. I think the majority of this space is going to just increase in utility. So as long as you buy coins that you can see the utility expanding from, you're good. If you're just going to buy random doggy-ass coins, you're likely to make money. I'm going to admit that. It's very likely still that you'll do well in terms of funds. But over a period of 10 years or so, I'm not sure that those are going to be the ones that are, the main adoption. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe it's going to be in 10 years, it's only dog type of coins, Like meme tokens have taken over. It's the new standard right now. If you're not memeing, you're not part of society anymore. I mean, I would like that. And there's actually one interesting article that I forgot to share with you guys earlier. Former Fed regulator calls for full ban on Bitcoin, says crypto has no real value. Lee Reiners believes crypto is not a real hedge against inflation. He's a former employee of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York and currently executive director of Duke University's Global Financial Markets Center, and he believes crypto has no cash flow and should be kept out of the banking system. Yeah, wait a minute, why is you guys can't see, but my MacBook is apparently emptying. How? All right, not so sure what happened. Maybe the cord wasn't plugged in properly. But it says here, Reiners has also mentioned that he believes crypto proponents are not really seeking clear legislation, but rather loose policies that can create an environment for crypto to thrive. He noted crypto people say, oh, we just want regulatory clarity, right? Like Brad Garlinghouse. I say, fine. It's pretty clear in China, but it's probably not the clarity you're looking for. So when they say we want regulatory clarity, that's a euphemism for we want favorable and light touch legislation. Which I disagree with, actually. I very much disagree with. Very, very, very much. I think this is actually a really sneaky thing he's done right here. Sneaky man. Sneaky you. So, the reason I'm saying that is because even a Ripple, for example, what would they have? What would they prefer? Logically, as any party would, they would prefer their own, I guess, the legislation that would make them the most amount of profit in the area which they would mostly like to be in. Mostly desire, I should say. However, from his perspective, he'd like the exact opposite of not being a crypto supporter. He'd like the exact opposite of just complete ban, right? So you have to find some middle ground from a certain perspective, unless, one party has more control than the other, which in this case is not completely true. However, let's come back to the point. Can we actually say that Ripple would only want this favorable outcome? I don't think so. And the reason I'm saying that is because Ripple has come back multiple different times asking, hey, are we good? Are we doing the right thing? Is it fine? Is it fine with you guys? Otherwise, you'd probably move. You got to understand, China's pretty clear on it, sure. And if the entire world would have followed China, I think some parties would stand out and say, you know what? Nah, I don't like this. Or if it was really hard to move, or you really were operating only in China, for in the country that's issuing the ban, okay. But Ripple, for example, is not in that same park where if the U.S. is going to completely ban it, it's going to be annoying, sure, and it's the less favorable outcome, sure. But it's not the end of the world, nor is it really bad, because at least now you know, and you can continue on with your business and expand and just grow and go on. It's not as if every country all of a sudden is going to ban it. So that's why I'm thinking he knows it's not the truth. He knows. Obviously, everybody in the world wants the most favorable outcome for them. The one you desire the most is the one you desire the most, period. So that's duh. However, speaking on the fact that, that is, you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Now, speaking further, Reiner stated that blockchain tech has no spectacular value when it comes to blockchain. It's really not better at anything, to be honest with you. Okay, saying that he's been waiting for the killer use case since Bitcoin's service in 2009, but hasn't seen anything sensational. I like the meme. Reiner has not been the biggest fan of crypto. In his article, Crypto and the State, an Unholy Alliance, published in September of 2021, Reiner said that crypto is a poor medium of exchange and unit of account due to its volatility, and that its only demonstrable use is a means of speculation in reality. Yeah, I'm not so sure exactly how far this guy has looked into things. The killer use case. He cannot fathom the underbanked and how they can benefit from this. Or I guess the underprivileged in terms of being able to have proper education storage in some sort of system. If you guys get my drift, like they're doing in Africa, like Cardano is working on right now, or with just the IDs on its own. It's just a huge killer use case. I can sit there arguing for 1,000 hours. I don't want to. I don't want to waste my breath on this man. Let's just agree to disagree. And let's just say, hey, this outright ban, I'm not so sure exactly whether or not that'd be a good thing if you don't fully understand the other side of what you're trying to ban. But hey, that's my thoughts on the matter. Let me know what you think down below. Do you think Bitcoin should be banned? Obviously not, right? Yeah. Crypto's still pumping, I think, by the way. Yeah, pretty cool. Having said that, that's it for today. Make sure you press the like button if you enjoyed it. See ya.